Alright, so I'm making this video because I want to talk about it before I do my video guide about the build I'm making right now. And I want to make sure that I have the time to speak about it so I don't make a 25 minutes video. I want to talk about the state of melee right now in the game, what it looks like to play a melee character, what I think about it, and I also want to talk about the new Harvest League, like the new league mechanic. We're going to start with the melee part. And I just want to say, I'm going to give props to GGG. This league was very stable. Normally when I go for a league start, it's kind of shitty, honestly. Last league, I just straight up stopped playing because it was unplayable and I wasn't enjoying myself at all. And I'm creating content. I'm a content creator, so that says a lot of things. If you're a new player and you tried the past league, the Delirium League, you probably stopped playing before they fixed anything because it took them a couple weeks. It just sucks. But now I'll give them props. That makes sense. That this league, in terms of performance, it was fine. I didn't have any issue, and I know nobody's reporting any issue in the Reddit forums, so it seems good. One thing that's really surprising to me, I don't know what's happening with the content creator from Path of Exile recently. Everybody seemed on board with the harvest thingy. Everybody seemed to be on board with the melee nerfs. I'll explain myself. And it's kind of weird. That's why I'm making this video. I think it's kind of weird that I'm the only one who wants to kind of noticed or is out there talking about it, because I don't see any of the big guys saying anything. So here's the issue. I know what GGG was trying to do, and this is what all the streamers have been talking about. They're trying to slow down the game. They're trying to make the pace slower and like having bigger attacks with like slams and whatnot being just super slow and overall slowing down the game. And that is fine. I see the directions they're going for, and that's what everybody has been talking about, being like, oh, it's the direction they're going for. We knew it was coming, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Let's talk about the state of the game right now, because that state they're going for, the state of the game they want to have, is not what it is right now. Right now, what they did is they tried to buff the melee aspect of the game because nobody was playing it by making it slower and hit harder. That was their old thinking, okay? But it's not working at all, because everything a melee character can do, a ranged character or a spellcaster can do it better, especially when you look at the new war cries. A lot of these things are applying to like bow builds or even spellcaster builds. So they didn't just buff melee, they buffed everything. Melee basically got more damage on some skills that nobody was using anyway because they were shit at clear. And this is obviously the problem we have with melee. It's not that you cannot take melee to a certain damage. That's never been the issue. If I want, I can scale up my melee damage to an incredible amount. The issue is you need to be a lot more defensive than you are with other builds, because you're upfront in the face of your enemy, so you need to invest a lot more in defense. And most melee skills, they just clear like shit. And that's a big issue. They just clear like shit. Some of the skills are going to be better at clearing than others, but stuff they revamped, like Ice Crash, it was a shit clear. They gave it more damage. I tried it. I scrapped the character. That's why my character takes so long to make right now. It's because I scrapped my Ice Crash character. It could do the end game. It was, you know, it's fine. It's just, it's shitty clear. Why would you play an Ice Crash character when you have like a Tectonic Slam character that can go twice as fast but has the same amount of damage, or, you know, any other type of melee skill, Cyclone or Lacerate or whatever? And then they added this note here. I want to talk about it because I think it's important. They added Fist of War, okay? Which basically works as every 1.5 seconds or so, you're gonna slam and do a shit ton of damage, which sounds nice. And honestly, like, I got the idea they have behind it, but let's face it, to add a lot of DPS to your build, you're gonna have to go for like attack speed. Not only that, but it also upgrades your clear, because this is what's gonna make your leap slam faster and whatnot. So you want to have fast attack speed. That's just how the fucking game rolls. And when you got Fist of War and you got, I don't know, 3 attacks per second or whatever, like, it's like you're running on a 5-link most of the time. So overall, it's shit. The only builds who are going to benefit of this is bleed builds and ignite builds, which is basically what I'm going to do next, the fucking ignite build, because I see a lot of potential in the new Warcry system and the one big ass shot combo. That's another thing they got for them going, because they basically buffed spell with those Warcries. Listen, 5 exerted attacks per Warcry is kind of shit. Okay, do you know how fast a character attack? Yes, they do. That's why they're trying to slow down the game. But the thing is, it only becomes relevant in builds like the one I'm trying to do, the Earthquake build, which is basically a very slow hitting build that's going to like hit once and hit hard, and it's going to stack so much damage, and we don't need attack speed. But I got another issue with that. The diminishing return from the AoE. I can't scale Earthquake as big as I want to, and I'm going to talk about that in my build. Like, this is one of the issues I'm having right now. I can't make it as big as I want. I can't make it clear an entire screen worth of mobs like I can with spells or arrows. So basically what I'm saying is there's no incentive for player to go melee right now. I'm not saying you can't do the entire content of the game. I'm just saying that once you try melee and then you swap to a spell, any spell that makes sense, or any range character, you're gonna be like, this is clearing a lot better. This feels amazing compared to my melee character, who was always on the face of enemy, getting killed by porcupine or whatever, like having to get a lot of defense for this melee character and not having that much damage in comparison to my other character that clear super fast compared to my melee character. I'm not saying you can't, like I said, Tectonic Slam, Cyclone, you know, there's a couple of things you could do. But overall, like, I think they failed really hard with that melee revamp they tried to do. Like, it was just basically just a Warcry revamp. That's all they did, and they tried to slow down. They tried to slow down a part of the game, which is, I'd always divide it between melee, range, and spell, and they tried to slow down the slowest of the three. What the fuck, GGG? Come on, man. Like, what are you doing, Chris? Like, you got all those characters who go super fast. They clear maps. You guys want to slow them down. They're like, which one are we going to slow down first? The melee character. If you guys were smart, you would have just slowed down everybody. Slow down the attack speed. Slow down the cast speed by half. Slow down the movement speed by half. Boom, you got your game slowed. Melee, caster, and range are all equal footing, you know? But what we have now is just, oh, we're going to slow down melee and the brand skill. Alright, so I just wanted to get that out. You guys tell me in the comment like what you think, but I think they fucked up with the melee revamp, and I don't know why nobody's talking about it. I was looking at people looking at reading the patch note, like Tarky, Ziggy, whatever, the big guys, and nobody seemed to be like outmatched by all this melee slowing down thing. Everybody were cool with it, and I'm like, okay, well, all you guys were starting with casters this league because nobody wanted to try melee. I did. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go big dick. I'm gonna try melee, and I did, and it's slower. Like, I can see like why all those guys that were like, oh yeah, melee is good, but yeah, it's probably gonna be fun. I like the direction GGG's taken, but then they all started with Penance Brand or something. They all started spell, because they knew it was going to be slow as fuck. Anyway, so that's for the melee aspect. Like, I could live with that, you know, there's a lot of builds you can do in Path of Exile. Like, this is just I just think it's a no-brainer not to slow down the slowest fucking part of the game, but maybe it's just me. And then there's the Harvest content. I'm not enjoying this league. I'm just not. Like, I haven't seen the endgame content, but there's a thing every player has been saying since, I don't know, the 10 past league. We do not want to stop mapping to do the league content. We talked about this over and over again, and I thought with Delirium we were starting to get somewhere. You know, the past few leagues there were less, I don't know if you guys remember Synthesis. It was a piece of shit league that you had to stop your mapping, stop playing Path of Exile to go play Puzzle Maker before you could do the content. And once again, you kind of have to do the content if you want to keep up with the currency, because it's pays so much, it's so rewarding that you cannot not do it. But it's not fun because the harvest, okay, the harvest version, the harvest league would have been fine if it was set up like bestiary. I go do my plans when I'm ready to do my plan. I've been mapping for an hour. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take a break. I'll go in my garden, set up my shit, do my plants, do everything. That's not how it works. Every 2 or 3 maps, you gotta go in there, which is a huge. Let's go look it out. Let's go look it out just to make sure. You gotta go in there, and you basically, this place is huge. All right. And you gotta walk, and you gotta go to a place where you can drop your seed. So you gotta go there, drop your seed, and then you can't just exit. Like, you drop this seed, you drop this seed, you drop this seed, and then you gotta come back here, take the portal, go out. It's like, it's tedious. I don't want to do this. I want to play the game. I don't want to fucking play Farmville. All right, and that's another thing. Like, the garden that was hard enough to set up as it is with the dispenser, which, by the way, are fucking retarded, because I really hate how you guys made this. Like, it was a good idea to use a dispenser. Like, I get the energy and the, you know, they're working as fertilizer. That's cool, but the mechanics behind it is tedious again, and not fun to use at all. Okay? I'm not having fun with this shit, but I have to do it because I can craft a lot of stuff with that, so I got to do it. So every 2 or 3 games, you got to go in there and interact with this piece of shit league. And another thing is, you know, placing my garden, doing this garden, took me over an hour of my time. And I'm playing only Path of Exile. If you're new, after 10 minutes of this shit, you're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck this. I'll go play League of Legends, because I don't want to spend an hour setting up my goddamn garden. You know? I don't know. I'm kind of curious what you guys think, because I seem to be the only one thinking that. Like, every other streamer or YouTubers I see, they're all on board with this thing. I've been mapping and keeping my seed and setting up my gardens, and like I like the crafting they added up in there. It's fun. Like, this is fun. And it could have been a fun league. Like, the idea behind the league is nice. Okay? Like, putting seeds, setting up a garden, but the way they made it is too tedious. And they should have made it like they made Bestiary. You know, you collect your shit and then you go interact with it later when you're ready. Not every single map you got to stop your mapping and go interact with shit. Breach was perfect. Breach pops out, you do your thing. Delirium was a fuck up because the performance issue and the mobs were overtuned, but the actual content of the league was accessible in a map. I didn't have to like go out of my way to do it, you know. And it's all we're asking in the end. Like, you could basically make just a standard league with everything we have in it, and just a hard reset, and I would have fun every three months. You guys release content, which is cool, and it's free, but there's a way to do things properly, and you got to have some beta tester. This is my call to GGG. If and to you guys on YouTube, like, write it on Reddit, make sure they hear it. Like, they need to have beta tester for those leagues. Just a couple of hardcore players who know the fucking game, not just how to code it. People who actually play it. They know how to build their characters. They know how the way people will enjoy it or not. Make them beta test it. All right, it's not going to be that expensive. I think they're making a lot of money. Just pay them $20,000 per league or whatever. Make them fucking fly over to New Zealand, play the damn thing, and like fix what needs to be fixed. That simple. I'm gonna release my if I don't drop it, I'm going to release my my earthquake build. I'm having a hard time making a decent clear out of it. The damage, fine. The damage is impressive, but I don't see anything I can do with this build that I could not do with a burning arrow better. You know, so yeah. So that's it, guys. Leave in the comments if you think the same thing. If you disagree with me, please leave a comment. I want to know what's up. Like, why do you enjoy the league? Like, tell me about the league mechanics. Tell me about your experience in Melee compared to the other season. I want to know, especially if you're an experienced player. I want to know what kind of league you're having right now. I'm very interested. I'm intrigued to see if I'm the only one who's having a hard time and kind of want to drop this goddamn game again. So, yeah, leave a comment. Peace out.